everyone? What's up? I'm listening to Nick's coverage of the trial again, so probably pull that on in a minute. But what's up? I'm back. So I can't remember if it was the stream before, or the stream yesterday, or the stream before that. But I remember Dr. CoffinNails saying something about, I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong on this, but we'll see. We'll find out. About me painting it, and he wanted to watch it, and I can't remember if he said before 10 a.m. or after 10 a.m. And so it's technically before 10 a.m. where I am right now, so I guess he'll catch me mixing the paints and whatnot, but I couldn't remember, and I'm tired, and I just wanted to get some eye painting done. So I was like, all right, I need to do this now. I was like, oh, maybe I should do like a different painting. And then I looked at my Instagram and I'm like, no, I wanted to be even before I did another painting. And then I got an idea. I was like, oh, how about every 3 eye paintings I have to stop and then do a section of like my Queen of Hearts painting, because I haven't painted that one in a hot minute. So I was like, oh, maybe I could try doing that. So yeah. I can try. But yeah, I think I did it a little bit faster yesterday because I was listening to Nick's coverage of that one trial. So I might just have that up and I can work a little bit faster, because that was the goal. I was trying to get better and faster at this, but I feel like I've just gotten slower. But yeah, let me pull up this eye picture. I had a bunch of energy and I'm starting to lose it. So just so everyone knows, my energy levels are very low. Grab this. I put out a video today that whatchamacallit? Oh no, I think he's got green eyes. I might have to pull up my email. But what trial? Some old man shot some guy in a movie theater. That's my very bad explanation of it. So there's a guy in a movie theater that was on his phone, which I absolutely hate. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves in the entire world, is when somebody is on their fucking phone in a movie theater. It's like, you pay money to come be on your phone. Get the fuck out of here. Watch the movie at home. Like, I get it before the movie starts is a different thing, but like once the lights turn off, once like, you know, the everything starts, you know, fucking don't be on your goddamn phone. Pisses me off to no end. And okay, yeah, this guy definitely has green eyes. All right, so let's start mixing some paint. And lots of freckles, so that's going to be fun. I don't think I'm particularly good at painting freckles, but here is some, like when I was watching that Spider-Man movie, somebody was on their phone like during the middle of the movie, and I said very loudly, like I'll yell across the theater, I'll be like, get off your phone. And I didn't have any popcorn to throw, or else I would have thrown popcorn, because nothing makes me angrier than somebody on their phone in a movie. Especially, I was in an IMAX theater. It was like $28 per ticket. And this motherfucker is on their phone in the middle of the spider. I was so mad. I almost want to go find them after the movie and be like, get the fuck off your phone. But even what was it? I was seeing like part 2 with Peaches back whenever that movie came out. And we were in the very back row. And this is why I don't go to, like, I try not to go to movies where it's like 18 and under. Like, I try to go to 21 and over movies unless the Munchkin is with us, for specifically this reason. I'm like, it is worth the extra money to not have to deal with this. So about halfway through the movie, these teenage girls come in. They don't walk around like the row. They crawl over the seat right next to me, and then they're making noise. And then the one chick next to me continuously opens her phone to go on Snapchat. And I was like, get off your fucking phone. Like, I told her multiple times. Then after the movie ended, like, she started mimicking me. She's like, get off your phone, get off your phone. And I was like, yeah, I paid money to watch this movie, not to see your phone glare at me. And they all started laughing at me. And I was so mad. I'm like, I hate teenagers. And Peaches knew I was mad, and he's like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I like these fucking girls who probably didn't even pay for the movie themselves. They probably used daddy's credit card, came into this movie and started going on their phone, and they showed up late too. I was fucking pissed. And I felt pretty old too, because I'm like, oh my god, I remember when I was that age, and even then I wasn't that rude. Like, I didn't go on my phone during movies when I was that young. I fucking hate teenagers. I hate them so much. Especially those ones. Those ones were the worst. Like, where the fuck are your parents? Didn't your parents teach you any manners? Obviously not. So he's got like very yellow lighting. I don't think his skin is like naturally this yellow, but it's very yellow in this picture. A lot of white in this. Anna, that's how you know you're old when you hate teens. I hated teenagers when I was a teenager. Teenagers are fucking annoying. Eee. Dropped the lid. Anna became Rachel and friends with the episode on the boat. No, she realized that she was becoming her father in that episode. I didn't become my mother. Because my mom doesn't yell across the movie theater. At least I have no recollection of my mother ever saying anything to anyone in the movie theater about being on their phones. But I feel like last time I was with my mother in a movie theater, we all still had flip phones, so... Yeah, shit, when was the last time I saw a movie with my mom? I think it was when we went and saw The King's Speech. And like, what was that? 2011? Maybe it was the last time I was in the theater with my mother. I can't remember seeing any other movie with her recently. Oh, you know what? When I was in college, they had like a special showing of the Return of the Jedi in the State Theater in Modesto, which is where my mother lives. And we went to that. I think that was 2012 or 2013. That's nice. So I was like, wow, you thought of me. You got me tickets to go see Return of the Jedi in the theater. So that was nice. I think this is too pink. Needs a little bit more. No, it's... There we go. That's a little bit more. Let's see. I'm going to turn on Nick's stream to listen to in a minute. I was debating on like maybe playing some of the podcasts I listen to, but I feel like the person whose podcast it was would probably get like mad at me if I'm like listening to their content while I'm... Oh, well. I know Nick won't get mad at me.
Jackpot.
Super chat. Okay.
Andrew, have you
Do you use a booster seat at the movies? Thank you for the super chat. I resent that, Patrick.
It's a very nice ride.
I do not. Some theaters I kind of need one, but Not all of them.
This guy built a weird castle for himself here in the mountains of Colorado. Met with dragons and
What?
and you used to be able to go inside. I think they had a fire. It's locked up now.
Send EVS a link. Does he have the? Is he in the chat?
On a very bad drug trip, decided to build himself a castle. So rather unusual.
You ever ride over to Canyon City?
Yeah, sure.
They have a Franciscan monastery that winery there, and they have a very good red. They did years ago when I went there. I liked it quite a bit. It's a lot of wines you buy right now. They have like an accelerated aging agent in them, and so they go bad after like 6 months. You have to drink. They're meant to be bought off the shelf or off the rack and consumed within a pretty reasonable time. But they had ones that were naturally aged that as well that you could keep, and they would just get better and better. And I aged mine for about 2 years, and it's magnificent.
I'll have to check that out the next time I'm there.
Jordan Crow says, I don't like jelly. I do peanut butter on peanut butter sandwiches. Also, take your new pup to a professional trainer. Have your kids learn to train the dog and make your life easier and teach your kiddos responsibility. Nate Jones says, what's your top 5 law-related YouTube channels? People on the panel are my top law-related channels. Frankly, I do not watch law-related YouTube content pretty much at all.
That's like me with like Star Wars or.
I'm on YouTube, I'm doing leisurely stuff. Usually,
Exactly.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Whenever people ask me like what other channels I watch or listen to, I'm like, I listen to all art channels and like channels that I have nothing in, like my channel has nothing in common with.
Believe me, I've packed on way too many pounds to not body shame myself every single morning as I cry. And the tears, by the way, they don't make it to the floor because they land on my protruding stomach. 200 Watt Studio says Nick. Nick, I haven't body shamed in this trial yet. You said she had a Sharpay neck. Well, I didn't say that. That was the chat. Someone in the chat said she had a Sharpay neck. I was trying not to, man. That was brutal. That was rude. Bowtie Charlie says, ask Andrew if the world's largest gummy worm is a potential deadly weapon. I don't have it down here anymore, but it is. It's disgusting. Sultan of Zanzibar says, as Richard, an officer pulled me over yesterday, said my driving was erratic. I didn't even know I was driving in such a sexy manner. Matt says, latent gay. So many have been covered already. Did we establish that Rosenwasser was the prosecutor from the Michael Drejka case as well? I think Reeves has a stronger claim to self-defense than Drejka. Yeah, I think we did establish that. I think you mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name, but I recognized him from the Drejka trial. I think the Drejka had a viable place of self-defense. It was all in that one moment when his aggressor takes that half step back. Did he have a reasonable perception that he was about to, get stomped, get kicked in the parking lot when he was on his back? The jury didn't buy it. Ultimately, they came back with a guilty verdict. Of course, it was one of these racially energized cases, and with all the usual media coverage, so you don't know how much bias was there. I will say that the defense team, which had a great reputation, mailed it in on that trial. They did a terrible job, and the defense use of force expert was like. He was a guy who had installed security cameras in one of the defense lawyer's house a couple of weeks before the trial. I mean, it was nobody with the kind of credentials you would expect. First time he'd ever testified as a use of force expert. And he seemed like a nice guy, but he was completely out of his depth. And you needed a genuine use of force expert for that trial.
The other problem that I saw with that trial was Drejka's statements to police, where it's amazing if you ever get the chance to watch it. I did a video breakdown of it, live stream breakdown of it. We watched through his police interview. There are real problems with what he said, and you can see the cops leading him to water and him refusing to drink. And they're like, "You're afraid, right?" And he's like, "Nope, I'm not afraid. I was carrying my sidearm. I wasn't afraid of anybody." Yeah. He's like, "Okay." but you were afraid at the time. Nope, I wasn't afraid. I neutralized the situation. It's like, dude, you were. He was trying to be tactical.
Unfortunately, he's not a very bright guy. So
Yeah.
it was not hard to lead him down the path that police wanted him to go.
Yeah, Michael Drejka had a they absolutely had a colorable claim of self-defense. He was blindsided, knocked down, and that guy, even though he steps back and turns away from Drejka, and they proved that at trial because the bullet came in through his ribs. You know, it came in from the side, on the side that was leading, and he stepped back away from him. That doesn't matter because Drejka could have perceived that he was winding up for a kick, or that he could have even just perceived that he was stepping forward because he had just been knocked down onto concrete. He's an older guy, and there's a big guy towering over him. And what you see isn't always what really happens. He was not able to communicate that very effectively. And when you combine it with his police interview, it just went very, very badly. But he certainly could have had a self-defense claim that was good. He bungled it, and I'll defer to your judgment on his defense counsel, kind of phoning it in, on that one.
Very, and that always bothers me. I mean, I'm not particularly bothered if these defendants get convicted. I mean, they're not my friends and family. There's nothing personal in it for me, but I prefer. It bothers me when I see someone not getting a robust legal defense. If they're going to be convicted, it should be when they're getting a robust legal defense, and then we know that the conviction's as viable as it ought to be.
Right. What we want to see, because we have a system that requires and relies upon this to be successful, a robust and ethical legal defense, and a robust and ethical legal prosecution by the state. We want the state to be acting within constitutional requirements. We want the state to be acting ethically. We don't want them to be trying to grandstand or create new law or advance their careers. We just want to see them put facts on the table and come to the right conclusion, whatever that may be. Seek justice, not conviction. And then we want the defense to raise legitimate defenses. We want them to not leave witnesses that have potential exculpatory evidence. We want all of that brought. We want competent cross-examination, because that means that justice is being served, whatever the outcome. Jared Numberdor says, movie theaters I go to bring the lighting all the way down during the previews right before the movie, because the movie plays right after the film. Pause. I've seen both. Cynthia Cotney says, oh my goodness, your chat really needs to get a dry sense of humor. Well, they do. Cynthia also says, chat roasting me after going after Nick is priceless, but here's 20, bless their hearts. Well, Cynthia, the chat may be roasting you, but in my heart, I know you're true. And you are welcome here. And I would simply say roast back, because most of them are degenerate, horrific heathens anyway. Wolfgang Deo, speaking of, says, insert borderline comment here for Nick to read. Beast on the Run says, don't know why he's being charged. Shot my girlfriend in the face in a dark theater once. Nobody complained. Also, open GI Bros gummy worm. I did last night on stream. That stream is up. You can check it out. It was phenomenal. Wolfgang Deo says, TNT, Tiananmen Nut Trudon. Andrew War Snowboard says, the Tyler Skaggs case is interesting because it's all about a baseball player who died, and his parents accused the Diamondbacks trainer of liability. Brian Hack says, at MM, I take offense to that. I teach gun training. Pete Watkins says, on why you shoot until the threat is gone, check Donut Operator's video about this. The guy attacking took 17 bullets in total before he stopped. Unafraid. Yeah, some people, either because of drugs, physiology, or whatever, or you just miss major arteries or things that would shut the body down, major nerve clusters. Some people need to be shot multiple times. Other people drop in one shot, and it's amazing, that disparity. Is that Pennsylvania case. Surely you've seen that with the snow shovel guy who guns down the woman and her husband. That case, I don't recommend people look up the video unless you want to see something just absolutely horrifying. But this guy puts multiple rounds from different caliber guns through a woman's head, and she still takes a while to die. People do not. Bullets are very small, and the damage can be fatal under a lot of circumstances. But how quick that fatality happens is very dramatic.
Yeah, there's dash cam footage of a police shooting. Unfortunately, the officer died in it, but he pulled someone over. The guy he pulled over was a bad dude. Gunfight happens. The bad dude had such a giant gut that his gut was just effectively absorbing the bullets. Yes. People may not know, but often bullets are tested for testing purposes in a block of gelatin. The gelatin captures the fired bullet. This guy's gut was acting like a giant blob of gelatin. And the cop basically emptied his pistol into this guy, but it was all caught in his belly fat.
Imagine having ballistic gel for his stomach. It's just gross. Actually, I think I know someone like that. But anyway, yeah, and if you're shooting to quickly drop someone, hitting them in the heart or just above the heart, where major our blood flow will occur. That's one way. Shooting them in the head, something that would cripple their brain's ability to actually send signals to the body. Hitting them in the spine, again, same thing. So those types of things can drop someone very quickly. Other things could take a very, very long time. Shooting someone in the stomach could take, even if the bullet does catastrophic damage, it could take days for someone to die from that type of wound, as things like bile cause infections and stuff like that. Danny Conley says the D needs to clarify between when the defense needs to clarify B/W between when or because when the people arrived, or between when the people arrived in the shooting, when they got there. It sounds like it's during the trivia stuff, and then when the real dispute happened is in the real previews. So now it's darker and louder. I think actually some of these people got there during the real previews though, because both other parties were already seated. So it's entirely possible they were late to the preview starting. It happens to me all the time. You guys are not surprised by this. Not Applicable says, tell that man to try jam, who even eats jelly. 200 Watt Studio says, nice to see Joe Walsh's second career as a judge. Wolfgang Dale says, all these political hacks these days. And Brian Hack says, at Wolfgang Dale, excuse me, I'm a libertarian hack. There you go. So we are all caught up on super chats on YouTube. I don't think there's any Odyssey chats at this point. If you don't mind, I'm going to run up and heat up a bowl of food. I'll put the hearing up on screen just in case it's back before I get back. I feel like, do you know what time it was supposed to come back?
Yeah, but it's getting close to 1. Right?
Yeah, so it's got to be close. So I'll be back very quickly if this is up just in case. So I'll see you all in a second.
Hey guys, so may as well do a little grifting. If you'd like to get the hardcover of my best-selling book, The Law of Self-Defense, you can look at the reviews on Amazon. There's well over 1,000 reviews, 5-star rated. But you can get this hardcover autograph. You can also get it from Amazon, but those are not autographed. Like the autographed version, you can get this at lawofselfdefense.com/gethard for the hardcover version of the book, or get the soft cover. A real physical book, folks. It's not like an ebook. The soft cover of the same book for free. Just pay the shipping and handling, and we'll ship you the book for free. lawofselfdefense.com/free book. Simple enough. And if you don't want to spend a penny, that's fine too. But I would urge you to at least get our 5 Elements of Self-Defense Law infographic. This is a totally 100% free PDF download. We don't charge a penny for it. If you don't understand these 5 elements of self-defense, you can't possibly understand use of force law. These are the building blocks of the claim of self-defense, no matter what state you're in. Get this for free at lawofselfdefense.com/elements. Also, we have a bundle we're running, a bundle of our 4 best-selling courses we're running during this popcorn murder trial. You can get our Law of Self-Defense advanced course. That's 8 or 10 hours of instruction. It's our main full-day course that we teach once or twice a year. but you access it as an online stream course, instant access. That's normally $200 by itself, but in this bundle, if you get that class, you also get 3 other classes: defensive property, uh, defense against rioters, looters, and arsonists, and also the state-specific law of self-defense course for whatever state you prefer. We have those specific state classes for each of the 50 states, and those are all included for free if you get the law of self-defense advanced class. And these are all instant access online streams. You can get those at lawofselfdefense.com/bundle. In fact, I'll change my little title here to reflect that: lawofselfdefense.com bundle. You save $300, 60% on the cost of the bundle. And you can get that again at lawofselfdefense.com/bundle. Nothing to wait for in the mail, folks. It's instant online streamed access. Okay, let's see. Maybe there's questions I can answer. Gerald says he bought the hardcover, gave my paperback to a friend. Great book, easy to read, and info that you cannot go without. I would concur. It's info you should absolutely get. It is written, the book's in plain English, folks. Everything we do is in plain English. Most people tell me they can read the book in an afternoon, 3 or 4 hours. They get through the whole thing. And you get the education and use of force law that you really can't get anywhere else. I know other people purport to teach this stuff, but generally, in my experience, they don't do a very good job. And if all they're reading you is some state statutes from your jurisdiction, that's not an effective instruction on use of force law. Judge, let's see. There's a super chat. Thank you, Cheryl Photo, for your super chat. Judge reminds me of Canabro girlfriend, mom's girlfriend. I don't know what that is, but says, keep up the great streams, Nick and Andrew. Andrew, I have your book, and I'm going to purchase Get Hard for a friend's birthday. Yes, the Get Hard, the hardcover of the book at lawselfdefense.com/GetHard does make a very nice gift. This is a very nice, good-looking hardcover book. Looks great on the bookshelf. Great for someone to unwrap. Birthday gift, Father's Day gift, that kind of thing. Highly recommend it. We move a lot of books that people buy as gifts. Let's see. Someone asked about what I think about a pelvic floor shot. I wouldn't recommend it unless you don't have a better alternative. Generally, center mass would be my first choice. Center upper, center chest, head. If that's not available, a pelvic shot can be effective. There's big blood vessels there.
I think that's all I need for now. I think that's good.
But the hip moves around a lot.
Oh, let me turn down the brightness. I know it's very bright for you guys.
My computer stuff. I know that I hear noise in the courtroom. And we're back.
We need to address a juror issue.
Uh-oh. Juror issue.
Juror number 9. That's very simple. Yeah, bring him in first.
So they need 6. They have 10 right now. They have 6 and 4 alternates. So if they let juror number 9 go, they'll have 9. 6 and 3 alternates.
Number 9, you can have a seat. Might bail up in case we got something going on.
At least if we're not here by 5, I should be it's awesome.
If, is it something that you need to go immediately?
No, I spoke to her and she's managing it. So it's anything I can do.
Uh-huh.
She's waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe he is just bored. It'd be hard to blame him. Brutal.
Guys, if you haven't smashed the like button yet, please do.
How long they take, even if they're not boring. Boring and long is the worst combination. So they're talking to one of the jurors. Juror number 9 apparently has a sick wife. I guess they're trying to decide whether to let him go.
They have 4 alternates for their 6 jurors.
God bless this man.
How sick is she? Did he say?
He describes it as not dire. So he's not actually asking to be released from the trial. He's asking if they could, recess the court by 5 o'clock every day.
Oh, that's the greatest man on the planet.
Yeah. Or at least every day that his wife is still sick. I don't know how chronic a condition this is.
Look, I don't wish ill will on the lady, but I hope she's mildly ill through the entire trial. Not to be rude.
Thank you for your consideration. Thank you for all this.
Absolutely, and like I said, if during one of the breaks you need to go, just call it. You're good. You know, we appreciate you having been here. Or if you get into not being able to concentrate, just let me know.
They got pillows.
They got pillows, huh?
Sit on.
Getting comfy. Oh, look at that.
The little
flimsy
stadium
cushions. Yeah. Oh, they all have them.
They brought those from home. Oh, that smile isn't helping. Never mind. Look dour. Look dour.
Do with it as we need to. Uh-huh.
68 SPC says, can the defense bring up jury nullification? Is that even allowed to be said in court? No. No, technically, as a juror, you are under an oath to abide by various things, to discern things based on reason and evidence.
And apply the law as you are instructed, even if you don't like the law or think it should be different. So explicitly right.
Yeah, the jury nullification exists because no one can actually practically enforce that upon a juror. There's nothing they can do to make that happen. So that's why the concept exists and persists, but you're not allowed to argue for that in court.
To abide by my instructions during the recess. All right, we'll get started. Mr. Martin.
Oh my God, she's sucking on something.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the cop husband of the last witness.
All right.
First name though.
This lady sheriff's tack
This brush isn't very good.
It's like so obstructing. When she turns around, it doubles her width. It's amazing. She's got so much crap on it.
This Guy Fieri.
We're gonna take you to Flavor Town.
That other one I was using the other day, it was good. This one?
I do. Theater.
What happened to the Edgecombe trial? It's been over for weeks. He was found guilty.
Oh, poor guy. The chair's too short.
At least he knows.
Would you state your first and last name, for the court reporter, spell the name and last name?
Alan Hamilton, Hamilton.
There's all different spellings with Alan.
Mr. Hamilton, what city do you live in?
Bushman.
Are you retired?
Yes, sir.
Retired from the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
What year did you retire?
2019.
He's retired. He's doing something. Right?
Well, in 2000, on January 13th, 2014, were you a sworn deputy with the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
I'm nervous about this.
Yes, sir.
And pursuant to that
This paintbrush isn't good either.
So
I bought this like new paintbrush set, and I'm not liking the way it's doing. But I got it specifically for the blending brushes that I use. So you have to buy a whole pack just to get one brush. So I was like, I'll try out the other brushes.
January 13th, 2014,
Not a fan.
I wonder if somebody talked to this prosecutor. He's getting to the point rather more quickly than he has in the past.
He
He's
watches
not
the
asking
show.
about teething babies this time.
Spur of the moment.
Did you arrive there in the afternoon?
Yes, sir.
While driving there or before you got there, did you decide what you wanted to see?
Once we got there, we decided.
You looked at the choices?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
what choice was that?
It's not a weird way to go to the theater. I've never done that. Just show up and then pick a movie then.
Oh, I've done that before.
I know some people who do that. It's weird to me too.
I used to do
I
that.
know it's time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've done that before.
No, Mark Wahlberg was in it. Not
All
Wahlberg.
right.
Did you see a movie that day?
Yes, sir.
Was it a military kind of movie?
Yes, sir.
All right.
We'll stipulate it was
Yeah.
I was just
One
going to
Survivor.
I wasn't trying to think. It was lost my train. Yeah, we're gonna. Sorry about that.
You can't even remember what movie he was at.
I can't even remember what movie they were at, and I've been listening to this trial.
Yes, sir.
And you recall that as being dinner, yeah?
Yes, sir.
What I'd like to do is, after you purchase the tickets, did you buy anything in the concession?
Yes, sir.
After you
Have you seen my wife?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we're in there and we're up the ramp and we go in and down.
Yes, sir.
As you come in, tell us what the lighting conditions were when you came in.
We can still see, but low.
They were low.
Yes, sir.
Could you see other patrons had already taken their seats?
Yes, sir.
Could you see the aisles walk down?
Yes, sir.
When you walked in, was there anything playing on the movie screen?
Not that I recall. Was it within the commercials?
Commercials to make you hungry to go eat, something like that?
I don't need help.
Any type of music playing along the road? When you came in and you looked around, did you and your wife make a choice where you wanted to go?
Yes, sir.
And do you have a particular area when you go to the movies that you would like to sit in?
Yes, sir.
Where is that?
Higher ground.
Higher ground?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the middle or close to an aisle?
Close to an aisle.
Did you in fact have an opportunity and were those types of seats that you'd like to sit in available when you go?
Yes, sir.
Now, as you walk in, and this is the movie screen, right? So I turn my back, and now you sit on my right or my left?
I'm looking at the within your right. Yes, sir.
So you walked up the aisles and would be on that side of the theater. Did you go all the way up to the top?
Stormy says, imagine if this prosecutor tried to grow a beard.
At the beach, was there a partition there that won't allow seating?
Yes, sir.
Just be like protruding out.
That partition or
Yes, sir.
as far as the location of your seat
That's one end.
One end.
Yes.
Now, for one end, if,
This is the aisle right here.
okay, one end are the next one in or one?
I would be the next one and then my wife.
Now, while you were sitting there, we're going to talk about once you took your seats. Once you took your seats with the lighting from the house lights, if you will, which you said below, along with whatever ambient light comes into the theater from what's up on the screen. Could you see other people?
Yes.
Could you determine whether or not they were male or female?
Yes.
Could you tell at a certain distance whether or not their hair was long or short?
Yes.
The people that were already seated when you walked in under those lighting conditions, see movement of the people like on arm movement, eating snacks, turning the bars. Did you see that kind of movement?
Yes, sir.
Did you have an occasion to speak with your wife once you sat down in the first 2 or 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Were you
She doesn't
able to
talk to
carry
me.
on a normal level of conversation, maybe not as loud as I'm talking right now, but a normal conversation with your wife that you two could learn to?
Yes, sir.
When you came in, there was a commercial. There comes a point in time when previews come on. Here's what's happening next. At that point, when the previews come on, did you notice a change in the light? The house lights.
Yes, sir.
Did they go up or down from when you first came?
Down.
No. The English language is what we have. Pretty means a lot to different people. Now, pretty isn't what you think it is. That's just an example.
He's being pretty someday.
We're trying to describe the light as to dark, dim, pretty dark, whatever you see. So let's not do that. Let's just talk about what you can see. Right? Because it doesn't matter. Just what can you see?
I mean, it kind of matters.
Change. Whatever the level you want to describe. Let's talk about what you can see. Well, when those lights change to that different level, could you still see your wife next to you?
Yes, sir.
Could you see people seated in their seats 2 or 3, 4 rows in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Could you see people walking in from the little hallway that they're in? Could you see people walking down in front of the screen?
Yes, sir.
Could you see people walking up the aisle?
Yes, sir.
When you saw the people seated in their seat, could you see movements from at least their shoulders, arm movements, head movements?
Hey, when you guys see, if any of my mods are in the chat, you guys see those weird things, like the Kolak Cardi are putting in, like with a word that has capitals and lowercase and a dot in the middle. Can you guys ban them? Because those are just bots.
To the left, to the left, to the left. Let's talk about
I hate that about my brain. I
level
really
of
do.
sound. All right? Again, when people try to describe things pretty loud, some y'all feel the words. Let's talk about what you can hear. Whatever level it was, this is what you can hear.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Yeah, those things are just bots, and it's annoying.
My question to you is, could you and your wife turn on a normal conversation between the two?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to hear words being spoken or actually know what the words were being said 2, 3 rows in front of you from the other people in front? Could you hear that?
I can hear.
Okay. You can hear people talking, right? Were you able to pick up and understand exactly the entire topic of the conversation? But you know that words were being spoken.
Yes, sir.
During this event, did you later learn that Mr. and Mrs. Olson?
The cha-cha slider. Yeah, that one.
Yes, ma'am.
You know
Did
that.
you later learn the gentleman sitting behind them in the drive of Mr. and Mrs. Green?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to refer to them from now on
you first came into the theater and sat down, did you see Mr. and Mrs. Reed sitting in the same room with you? Did you see them walk into the theater and take their seat? Yes. The same question is about Mr. and Mrs. Olsen. Once you sat down, did you see Mr. and Mrs. Olsen seated? Did you call? No. Did you see him walk in? No. Were you watching the
Normal answer. I wasn't paying attention to these random people that I don't know are going to shoot anybody.
prior to January 13th, 2014, had you ever met Mr. and Mrs. Reed? Yes. I want to take to you quickly into now the event. Let me start where you had that snapshot of what the now you were watching the preview. Occasionally we're sitting around. Yes, sir. And occasionally we look back. Yes, sir. So that's what I mean by a snapshot. Your vision's not like an eagle where you take everything, right? Yes, sir. So put the key word.
Ego.
And put
Yeah. Yes. You're leading. Okay. As if he doesn't know that that's what he's been doing the entire.
No, sir. Can you see with 20/20 vision out to your peripheral? No, sir. In order to do that, you have to.
It's still leading question.
Yes, sir.
For folks that don't know, the question's leading when the question suggests the answer to the witness.
At some point, your attention is drawn to the
Like that one.
How is your attention drawn to that?
My wife said you probably need to pay attention to this.
Once you heard those words, what did you do?
Set up in my seat.
That's a good
Said,
question.
say, sat down. What does that mean?
I moved my entire body and still sitting towards the front of the seat. I scooted forward. Yes, sir.
Was when you're sitting in your seat, was that
I feel bad. I haven't seen Dr. CoffinNails show up in the chat, so this must be too late for him to catch the stream.
area where you now know that Mr. and Mrs. Reed were at Mr.
Well, Dr. CoffinNails, if you're watching, I'm sorry.
Made
I hope you like it on the replay.
take your eyes off that area.
No, sir.
But do you have eyes like an eagle?
That area. Step by step. First look. What did you see?
I seen Mr. Olson propped up on the chair in the road, which would have been in front of us, but further down to my right hand.
What do you mean propped up on the chair?
You can bring a phone book with you to sit on.
When you saw Mr. Olson, did you see his feet on the floor? From what part of his body? So we're not. Where is he?
Oh, hey, there's the court reporter.
Yeah.
You mentioned, and let's pretend
The chat was a fan of the court reporter the other day.
yeah, that that's the you stand up and go. I know it's not. Okay. But what I'd like you to do, this is a play. We're going to take the jury. Now he would be over here looking this way, right? You indicated that you saw Mr. Olson walk up. If you can, demonstrate what that was during which he walked up.
But that chair is backwards.
What did you see? What did you see out of that? You crossed what happened.
I would have jacked the chairs backwards and also not a movie theater chair.
What do you mean by that? Before you saw that official contract, they said by what? I'm just thinking.
Sorry, remember?
How soon after that statement was you told to click a pump?
Within seconds or within less than seconds?
One thing for all of them then.
Within seconds is nowhere near almost simultaneous.
Now, once you saw the popcorn, what happened
And I'm doing. My wife shouted, "Free popcorn!"
we're at the point where you make your own selections. Let me ask you a question.
He just did.
You heard and attributed to Mr. Olson the use of the F word in one sentence. My question to you is the time that your attention was drawn to Mr. Olson, did you ever hear him use the F word in any other string of sentence at all?
No, sir.
One time. Can you characterize as you can the space and time between the utterance of that statement and you seeing the degree of pop?
Just a second or so. A couple seconds.
And can you characterize in the space and time best you can the time between you see the degree of popcorn and the most fun?
And just
Hey Anna, I made it all good, Dr. CoffinNails. Awesome. Good, I was worried. I was saying earlier, I was like, I know, I can't remember if he told me to be before 10 a.m. or after 10 a.m.
You ever see Mr. Olson standing in the street? You ever see him trying to climb over his chair for
no, sir.
So, fun fact, only 6% of the world's population has green eyes. So,
at the same level where he said
Dr. CoffinNails got some rare eyes.
where you would associate those
I know that they don't really consider gray an eye color, but I've seen people that have like just gray eyes, but they always say that those are blue, but I think that's the most rare one personally.
Did you see anything before you saw the degree of popcorn that would indicate to you that any object whatsoever was thrown at Mr. Reeves?
No, sir.
Did you see any indication from Mr. Reeves that he was hit with such gravity that his hands would come up and scream the pain?
No, sir.
Anything to indicate by Mr. Reeves' body movement that he suffered any type of strike about his body where you would expect someone to react to the pain?
No, sir.
Anything perhaps as information that you thought you needed to intervene in that world?
Yes, sir.
And what? Other than firing. I'm not talking about that.
something comfortable? No.
Oh God. Do the eye thing again.
What actually you
Eagle.
I stand up, make my way down the aisle over to Mr. Reed's to that area. And
It's like the most calm
observe,
walk.
It was remarkable. I just heard a gunshot. I'm going the opposite way. Especially if I left my gun in my wife's purse.
I was gonna say.
Can't imagine. Can't imagine.
And through your law enforcement experience, you have some training as far as firearms.
Yes.
One of the rules is don't put anything in front of your muzzle.
Take it out of your holster and put it in your wife's purse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you agree or disagree with me that one of the rules?
That's
That
still leading.
doesn't change it.
No.
Ask if there's a rule about putting something in front of your muzzle.
Can you tell us whether or not you have been taught that you not put your hand in front of your Yes. And what happens if the gun fires?
And folks, for non-lawyers, it can be tricky to ask non-leading questions and get the answers you're looking for. But lawyers are supposed to know how to do this.
For the very first time, right? Did you ever see Mr. Reed release his hand out and Mr. Olson chest almost on his hand?
Did you ever see this?
Dr. CoffinNails, thank you for the super chat. I want to buy, I think I meant buy, not but, buy this when you're done with your exhibit, of course. All right, awesome, thank you. Dr. CoffinNails, you know what kind of finish you want? Like gold, copper, silver? Let me know.
They can. With that dramatic characterization of it, I would maybe object to that question.
What are your thoughts?
You're going to test me, Dr. CoffinNails, with all your freckles. Not very experienced painting them, so I hope that it's good.
Keep objecting. Because this guy got pissed on that second objection. I would start poking at him.
Yeah. Make them listen. They're supposed to do this a certain way for a reason. And make them do the work.
Yeah. It's their job. This guy is paid by the state to prosecute. He's not paid by the state to stand up and be an idiot. And it's not that hard to not ask leading questions. In another courtroom, this guy would be reprimanded constantly for it, which means in the other courtroom, he doesn't do it. He's doing it now because he can get away with it.
Copper, whatever you think. Okay, copper. I'll write that down.
When you allow this leading on direct, is that the lawyers.
So many people say, "Oh, whatever you think looks best," and I'm like, "No, you pick." Because if I pick, it might not match your house.
The defense turn to be on direct. Every time they ask a leading question, I can assure you the state would be objective.
Yeah, actually, that was noted. The state has a penchant for objecting. They're very, very willing to do it. Whereas the defense here has seemed to indicate that he's trying not to do that. And maybe that's a tactical decision in these self-defense cases because you don't want to.
Keep your eyes where you can see the fire.
Objection. Leading.
Why were you doing it?
Just to try to find who was
Tell us whether or not there were any other people seated in seats that you
Yes. There was
Just ask were there any other people.
was obviously to my right of the door that way.
once you got
his left knee. I reached down and grabbed his firearm.
As you walked up to him again, were your eyes looking towards him sufficiently so that you could see his entire body?
Yes, sir.
What, if anything, did you notice about his eyeglasses?
They were on his face.
His eyeglasses were on his face.
Yes, sir.
Obscured.
While you walked up, did you see any body movement with his hands towards his face as you walked up?
Yes, sir. He leaned back and pushed his glasses.
Is that when you got there?
So, yes, sir.
All right, so let's talk about that. Once you got up there, you're going to tell this little guy that he did that. What did Mr. Reese say to you when you actually demonstrated he was pushing up his glasses?
Said he thought he had something in his eye.
Something in his eye.
In his eye, yes, sir.
It shows again what he did with the eye.
He puts his glasses up on his forehead. He basically gets the eye light. You can see something in his eye.
And did you look in that direction or across the road?
Sure, yes, sir.
And tell us whether or not visually you were able to see him.
That's it.
What happened after the glasses were up? Okay, did you put it back down?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. Now let's get back to securing the car. Did you text him?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell Mr. Reeves anything before you retrieved the car? Do you know whether or not Mr. Reeves knew at that point he was wrong?
I identified myself.
Once you took the firearm, what did you do?
I placed it in my pocket.
Did Mr. Reeves do anything to object to this?
That's it.
At that point, how would you describe the officer?
When he was Walker,
How long were you with Mr. Reeves until law enforcement responded to you?
Oh boy.
20 minutes.
During that time, where was the car?
20-minute response time to the theater shooting. And people want to know why I carried a gun to the theater. Some lunatic starts shooting. I gotta wait 20 minutes for the cops to show up.
Let me show you what's been marked right there.
You better hope you're at a Marvel movie so they have time to get through everybody else first.
Three.
That's a good one.
George Zimmerman's pistol was also a Caltech, if you recall correctly. But a 9mm, also fired only one shot, fatally, center of chest.
Cheryl Photo says, Judge reminds me of Canterbury girlfriend's mom's girlfriend. Yeah, she kind of does. Keep up the great streams, Nick and Andrew. Andrew, I have your book and I'm going to purchase Jeff Hunt's for Ken's birthday. I love the streams you both do. I try to watch all the time. Well, thank you, Cheryl.
Very kind.
Jackson Kai says, I'm more surprised when the prosecution isn't asking leading questions. 95% of these are yes, no, and I forget this is direct.
Topic number one is the location of Mrs. Olson. During that time period, were you aware of where she was?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where was she?
She was just to Mr. Olson's right.
Talking about after she
She was one or two seats separated from him.
Once you got up there and retrieved the firearm, do you know the location of
Mrs. Olson. That's right.
While you're standing there with Mr. Reeves, describe to us the actions of the other patrons.
in a general fashion, what was occurring right after the shooting as far as the other people?
Some of them left the area. Some were trying to perform CPR on Mr. Wilson.
From your location of standing there with Mr. Reeves, did that location provide you an opportunity to see Mr. Olson where he was?
Yes.
Could you see the patrons there?
Yes, sir.
Now I need to take you back just a little bit.
Oh, good. Thank God. Let's go back again.
Do you see Mr. Wilson after the shot?
Yes, sir.
As you walk towards Mr. Reed, do you hear anything that Mr. Wilson said?
Yes.
What do you hear him say?
I believe he shot.
Pay attention now back to Mr. Reed. As you're waiting for law enforcement and after the collapse, okay? While standing there, did the lights come up? House lights? Did you notice anything on his face that would indicate to you?
No, sir.
Were you able to see his front of his face?
Yes, sir.
Did you see the left side of his face?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Did you see the left side? Your left side.
Yes,
I
sir.
would see the top
I
of
have
his
tulip
head.
hair on my painting.
Was there any blood on any of those locations?
No, sir.
Can you tell us whether or not there was any cuts?
No, sir.
Can you tell us whether or not there was any abrasions in any of those locations?
No, sir.
The way he's asking these questions are yes, no questions. Can you tell us if? He's saying no, he can't tell you if. He's not saying there weren't. He's just saying he can't tell you if there were. Bad question. Just say, was there a cut or abrasion?
Lights are up on your shoulder, Mr. Reed. I want to talk about the observations away from Mr. Olson and Mr. Reed. While standing there, you have an opportunity to look in the area of where Mr. Reed's feet were.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us whether or not there were any items on the floor?
Popcorn and cell phone.
Popcorn. Do you recall anything else?
No, sir.
His viscera.
In that 20-minute period, did you see any movement of Mrs. Reed? After the shooting, you're standing there waiting for law.
Yes, sir.
What did she do?
She eventually got up and left, but she had moved over.
You pop my back. It hurts.
Whoops, the lunatic had just fired a gun. Law enforcement arrived. You know,
The first deputy or sergeant that was there came up and identified myself with him and handed him the firearm, and the other two deputies detained Mr. Reeves.
At that point, was your off-duty law enforcement / civilian duties over with?
Yes, sir.
Now, you witnessed the incident, so I'm going to assume at that point there was some interviewing back there.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that part of the event, okay?
God, this guy he is Ambien.
Did your
He is
wife remain
just
in the aisle in your general area while he was alive?
Yes, sir.
After those duties were gone, did you
The theater? Yes, sir.
did there come a point in time when you did a piece of paper?
Yes, sir.
What instructions were given to you when the officer gave you that piece of paper?
Just make a statement of the incident. Statement.
Did you in fact do that?
Yes, sir.
And did your wife do that?
Yes.
Were you in
and wife together when you individually go about the treatment?
Yes.
If they were together, then it was an individual mistake.
Tell us whether or not you helped your wife write out her statement.
No.
Did you provide your wife with any facts that you saw while writing out the statement?
No, sir.
While your wife wrote out the statement, she was in your presence. Did she provide you with any information that she saw that you saw?
No, sir.
Did you even talk about the incidents as you were writing out your individual statement?
No, sir.
Before writing out those statements, were you in the general area present, if you will, anywhere in the theater where you overheard other individuals talking?
No, sir.
As you sit here today, do you have any recollection of hearing anyone comment on the incident?
No, sir.
While still at the theater after writing out the statements, were you interviewed?
Yes, sir.
Tell us whether or not you were both you and your wife were there.
Yes, sir.
And tell us, were you present in your wife?
Yes, sir.
Why?
She was pretty upset when the whole patient state of emergency.
Help her graze.
Where did the interview take place?
It was in a
Let's calm you down.
child's daycare center within the theater.
When the interview took place in relation to
Sometimes I hate you.
individual taking the interview, what was your location?
I was sitting behind her.
Could you hear the questions and answers?
Yes, sir.
And tell us whether or not at any time you verbally interjected during the interview.
No, sir.
At any time, tell us whether or not at any time you made any noise, facial expressions, whatever, that would indicate a displeasure as to what your wife was saying.
No, sir.
I was just mooing at her.
Be wrong about what she was saying.
No, sir.
How would you describe your wife's emotional state as she walked into the interview room?
She's upset. She's kind of in that. They can't do anything. I feel.
Did your interview take place before or after your wife?
Mine
Was your wife present during your interview?
Yes, sir.
Does my voice induce suicidal ideation?
Yes, sir.
As far as
Yes,
location?
sir.
Yes, sir.
And why was she present during your interview?
It's a good question.
Just in case he says anything separate in the room together.
Her emotional state was a factor at all?
Yes, sir. I'm okay with that.
Before you completed your written statement, or before your interview, did you and your wife discuss individually what each other saw?
No, sir.
Well, look how, yes, his wife heard his statement and then gave her own statement, but he didn't help her write.
No, no, no.
Let's see. That's the question in the chat that I wanted to see. Winter says, I'm going to try to use this trial to fall asleep, so please don't talk. Don't worry. Is Nick self-censoring since Yat? What's Yat? You mean you are here, my age? No, I'm not self-censoring.
Now, let me just briefly go a little bit of your background, Mr. Hamilton. You are retired. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Hamilton, you started your law enforcement career as a detention officer. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Who was that?
CCA.
What is CCA?
I can't remember the CCA Corrections Association. It's a private business.
Corrections of America.
For-profit prisons. Yes, sir. Corrections of
Yes.
America.
I love for-profit prisons, by the
And
way.
you were there for quite a few years.
Yes, sir.
And then you went to, I guess, the Brooksville Police Department. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were there for about 5 years in Green Bay.
Yes, sir.
And then, it's my understanding, you then went to Sumter. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you were in Sumter, I guess, until your retirement.
Yes, sir.
While you were at Sumter, you changed a little bit in your positions, correct?
Yes, sir.
You started as a patrol officer.
Yes, sir.
At some point, you went to a school resource officer.
Yes, sir.
You went to a detective.
Yes, sir.
You felt like things were overcoming in the detective division, so you wanted to go back to the patrol.
Yes, sir.
You never wanted to be a prosecutor, did you? Because prosecutors are cuts, aren't they?
I think you indicated in direct examination that as a law enforcement officer, with their training, even when you go into the theater, you want to sit right.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you behind you, you have people in front of you so you can see what's going on. That's just part of the life of a police officer, right?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Any prudent person.
you were seated at the very back. There's a right? And that was 6 foot tall.
Yes, sir. So
Oh,
twice
no,
your
it's
height.
not a wall, it's a divider.
Your seats don't recline as much as the seats in front of you.
I don't recall whether unless they were I'm sitting back.
You're lounging, you're kind of, right?
Yes, sir.
And so is your wife. And your
Well,
wife
she
is seated to
lounges
your right.
so much as just is poured into
We
whatever
believe
seat
there's
is
about 7
available.
to 9 seats between you all and Mr. Reeves, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in between you all and Mr. Reeves, there's at least another couple of seats.
Just one.
How many seats from your seats would you say that other couple?
1 or 2 seats. Yes, sir.
That was also.
Yes, sir.
Now, your position was that the previews were not playing, correct? When you first came in.
No, sir.
And even though the previews were playing, you, I think, characterized the minor club. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
When the previews came up, it became even darker.
Yes, sir.
These guys probably
not only that,
testified before.
the previews came on.
Retired after law
It came on,
enforcement.
we had this announcement
Patrol officer.
for the patrons like yourself to put your phone on. Turn off your phone, right? In fact, the theater told you that so many times that you were talking to your wife and thinking, if they tell me one more time,
Happened so long
I'm gonna
ago.
run.
When this guy was hired, he had hair.
And so the theater was making it clear that case management wanted you to put your phone on. That announcement.
Yes, sir.
And when that announcement comes up, you put your phone on, right?
Yes, sir.
Why do you do that?
That's good.
When you go to the theater, what's your reasons for going to the theater? You want to have that theater experience?
Yes, sir.
You want to be able to focus on what's showing on the screen? And likewise, some people go to the theater because it's nice and loud, right?
Yes,
It's
sir.
part of the experience, right?
Yes, sir.
Certainly a lot louder than what you play a movie at your home, right?
Yes, sir.
I've never been to my house. Not when my kids get a hold of the remote and then turn the TV off and turn it on, I'm surprised. Oh, Jesus.
When they play the previews, there at that theater on January the 13th, 2014, the previews were allowed. Allowed as, I mean, you remember RoboCop, right? That was one of the previews, right? Action-packed, it was shooting, it was loud.
I just remember commercials, and they're loud in the preview.
I'm not talking about the first one. I'm talking about the preview. These are the movies that they intend to show in the future. It was RoboCop. It was all those Terminator type previews that day, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they were loud. And they were shoot 'em up type of previews, were they not?
Yes, sir.
2014 RoboCop, guys. Or 2015 or whatever. The remake. Remake RoboCop.
If you and your wife are seated.
I totally forgot they remade RoboCop.
I enjoyed
I never
it, but
watched
it'd
it.
be a shitty remake.
You're looking to see what's coming up.
Anyone here see it? I don't. Didn't see it.
And it was your wife that had to nudge you to get your attention, to focus your attention on something else.
You annoyed by that?
And when you did that, when she did that, you scooted up. Right?
Yes.
And the first thing that you see is you see a person standing up, right?
Yes.
And what you see is really a silhouette, right?
That's correct.
You don't see my definition. You see here, right?
It sucked.
Clear skin color of my eyes, right?
No, sir.
You don't see the color of my frames, do you?
No.
All you're seeing at that distance is a silhouette.
Yes, sir.
You know what a silhouette is?
Yes, sir.
So you're not able to see features.
No.
You can only see from the waist up.
Yes, sir.
But you could tell. That silhouette was yelling in that theater.
At one point, yes, sir.
Yelling, right? In fact, you're not only making that statement, you're yelling. You put that in your own written statement, did you not?
Yes, sir.
And this tall man, right? He was tall. You said at least over 6 feet.
Yes, sir.
This tall man was yelling, and he was leaning over the back of his seat.
No, sir. It was Trump. Trump.
Remember making a statement?
Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
I object, Your Honor.
Abject, he's going to say cheating.
The very day of this incident, correct?
That's correct. Yes,
You made that statement even before you were interviewed by the detective. If you remember making this statement,
Your Honor, every time he does this, he proves that the guy said what he didn't want to say.
I observed a white male standing up to my right and lean over his back seat and begin to yell something to the effect, I am trying to text my fucking daughter.
Yeah.
Well, when you made this statement, was it correct?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you would agree when you made the statement in 2014 that your recollection was much better on the date of this incident than it is in 2022 today.
The witness is just looking over at the prosecution table. Help me.
Do you have a problem with saying that you were over
Yeah,
the back
correct.
of the seat? Is that a problem?
Is that, do we mean in the statement that I had from him?
Yeah, look, staring directly to the prosecution. How do I answer?
When you came and the prosecutor was here, this is what you told the jury that you called propped up. Is that what you call propped up? Or was he leaning, as your statement, leaning over the back of his seat?
He said he was.
Even though that's what you said.
Yes, sir.
You must have been lying then when you made that statement.
Well, what's the explanation? I object to that character. Are you lying then or are you lying now? I mean, because you just said you agreed that your memory was better back then. You agreed he was leaning over the chair back then. Now you're saying prop. He's standing up with his hand gingerly touching the back of it. I mean, come on. What's the answer here?
Do you guys think this old man is
It's good. I like this.
like guilty or
And I
innocent,
wonder
or
how
like
much
do you
of
think he
his
should go to
changed
jail?
testimony is
What
just
do you
a
guys
function
think?
of being married to his wife, who was there, has her own view of events. To what degree has he accommodated his memory to her view of what happened? Because people do that too.
And they would have likely discussed this leading up to each hearing.
1,000 times. 1,000. Yeah. Every family event, every party they go to, this would be a topic of discussion. It's that unusual an event that has happened.
Yes, sir. Or was it leaning over the chair as you indicated on January 13th? It was it wasn't leaning over the chair. That was just something that you wrote to the speaker on January 13th of 2014. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir. And you're a police officer, correct? Yes, sir. And you a police officer for how long?
You know you're under oath.
And you must have been trained that when you're writing a statement, you've got that write that statement precisely and accurately, correct? Yes, sir. Because in our system of justice,
Who's gonna rail him?
afford to make mistakes.
Look at this guy's demeanor. It's like his wife is yelling at him. I have a feeling he looks like this a lot.
This move?
Yes, honey. Yeah. Yes, honey. Sorry, honey.
That's the oh shit chair rock. That's when the words are battering you
One
back.
thing is that you did not hear.
It looks like a domestic violence victim right there.
Correct. In fact, you
An
couldn't
abusive relationship.
I don't know. I think he definitely did it, obviously, because the guy died, but I don't know. I'd be okay if he got off, because I hate it when people fucking text in movies. Not saying that guy deserved to die, but you probably also shouldn't be screaming at like a 70-year-old man in a movie theater because they asked you to get off your phone.
No.
No. No. You could only see the silhouette because it was gone.
And now he looks completely coached.
Yeah.
When you heard Mr. Olson,
Even if he wasn't, he looks coached.
you wanted to find out, quote, who was raising hell. Correct? Yes, sir. That's what was in your mind at that point in time. Yes, sir.
Name
You
was
wanted to
Chad.
find out
Chad
who was
Olson.
raising hell. Okay?
Yes, sir.
The only one that you heard that was raising hell was that silhouette.
Yes, sir.
You don't know how long that silhouette, Mr. Olson, was raising hell, correct?
Correct.
Because you were focused on the preview, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because your
Correct.
wife had to be the one to nudge you and say, hey, you need to pay some attention here.
Yes, sir.
You did not see the entire exchange that took place from Mr. Olson towards Mr.
Not the entire, no, sir.
And you had no idea, therefore, if Mr. Olson could come over that chair on a previous few seconds, right?
No, sir.
Because you were looking over there, correct?
Correct.
And so you don't know what was happening at that moment before you looked over.
Correct.
What you do know is that Mr. Olson was raising hell and using the F word, correct?
Using or
Well,
used?
maybe I should say saying the F word. You want me to say it? He said he had to work. And certainly that alarmed you because
I want you to say it. Say
that
it.
yielding with the F word in a theater is totally unfair, right? You would never, in your entire life, expect someone to be getting up in the middle of the theater and using that word, yelling, right?
Yes, sir.
And it alarmed you 7 to 9 seats away.
Yes, sir.
You would alarm someone 1 seat away, one entire
You were
row.
doing your best to try to see what you could see. But all you could see was a silhouette. Not even seeing Mr.
I thought he was going to say all you could see was a silhouette of a man towering over Mr. Reed. You know, something.
But you know that that silhouette was facing in one direction when it was raising it. Right?
This is why I couldn't see him, by the way. The light from the screens behind him was turned around. That's why he's a silhouette. That was probably the question he was going to ask. If I had to guess.
And it was in very close proximity.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
He keeps looking over at the prosecution. It's so funny.
Did you see the prosecutor like this?
He's waiting for them to hold up a cue card or something. Give him a thumbs up. I mean,
You certainly never saw Mr.
You got this, man.
With a
good
thumb
job.
in his hand.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
You never saw this silhouette with a thumb in his hand. That's what you're seeing is a silhouette. But you say that as you pulled it, it flicked up. Now, tell me that
Hey,
you were
flick
seeing
of the
a
popcorn.
silhouette. How could you see someone with
It's just an arm, a hand, and then it was a foot.
so the arm and hand towards Mr. Reed?
Just however, the silhouette was standing.
Oh my goodness, I was just thinking about my best friend and she texted me.
Out towards Mr. Reed,
How crazy.
correct? In
Let's see
very
what
close
what's up with her.
Good testimony, or good questions. Good way to ask that.
and it was then almost instantaneous.
And the witness did this first. The full move
In
out.
fact, you wouldn't be surprised if it's less than a full second.
No, it's not.
My question is, you wouldn't be surprised if it was less than a second.
No, sir.
You didn't see the gun as it was going. So this is a good one. You didn't see Mr. Olson. Didn't see the gun. You saw popcorn.
Yes, sir.
How could you see popcorn if you can't see anything but a silhouette of Mr. Olson, and you can't see a gun, and you can't see Mr. Reed? How are you able to see popcorn?
How funny.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
We saw popcorn after the fact and implanted that into the memory of the flick is what he's going for.
Now,
Does Curtis Reeves see the popcorn coming at him or fist?
gave us a statement on direct examination where you indicated that the shot took place and Mr. Olson fell to the ground.
No, sir.
He didn't fall to the ground. So, shot took place with Mr. Olson.
Held his hands over his chest.
Every time I hear Olsen, I just think of like the Olsens from Little House on the Prairie.
Shot. Can't believe he shot me.
And I'm like, I believe an Olsen would be the one that's causing problems.
because he felt. And so you saw all that from the vantage point of my work. And you 7 to 8, 9 seats. Okay, because it's shot. Mr. Olson, statement, right? You're still at your seat. Right? And so, can you tell me how long
Maybe his eyes are tracking the popcorn like a dog tracks a biscuit.
to Mr. Reed after that took place? Seconds.
Okay, I think I'm about ready to start adding details.
He looks deflated.
You never saw Mrs. Olson? No, sir. At all? I seen her at the very end. At the very end? After the shot? After they turned the lights up and people. But before they turned the lights on, you didn't even see Mrs. Olson? No, sir. Because it was dark? Yes, sir. No, there was no light. But somehow you said on direct examination that she was seated to the right of Mr. Olson. Mrs. Olson. Did you say that on direct? Remember?
I've hit him with that dark remark over and over again because he always answers yes and then he corrects himself.
Come on today. Today? No. Talking about the incident. On the date of the incident, was Mrs. Olson seated to the right of Mr. Olson? I don't know. You didn't see her.
It's like the scene of my cousin Vinny with the old lady with the glasses.
Yeah.
Situation where you just had a shooting. Certainly you don't want to have a firearm exposed to the general public, right? Right. Because they're going to think that you're a threat, right? Yeah. You've been trained on that in your own law enforcement, right? Yes. So you didn't find it odd whatsoever that Mr. Reeves immediately after the shot put the gun on his lap. You weren't surprised by that. Yes, sir, I was. Why would you be surprised by him putting it on his neck, on his lap, when he didn't want to expose everybody to thinking he was something that
Gonna get an objection. You keep this line going.
he certainly didn't want him to have
Testifying about what he
after
wanted.
the shot, right?
Here it comes. Yeah.
It is props. Right? You do not want to get trained law enforcement. Listen, there's a situation with a big crowd. Especially if you're not in police uniform. You don't want to have a gun in your hand thinking you're right. And so when you went over to Mr. Reeves, I'm sure you thought to yourself, I am trained individual.
Well, no, he's free to say no. No, that was not improper cross. The other one might have been. This one wasn't. This is about his impression.
In fact, is that correct? Right, training individual put it there. Nobody sees him with a gun in his hand. I didn't know that he was on the train. No, at that point he didn't, but you must have thought that. Or he put it on his knee. You didn't think that. But I can tell you that when you picked up that thing from his knee, you quickly hit it, right? Because you didn't want everybody in that particular theater to think that you were a threat. Because you were not in a police uniform. And what happens is, if they think you're a threat and somebody's got a gun, now you start shooting at you, and these poor individuals in the theater may get shot. You wanted that gun out of sight for the right reasons, right? Yes, sir. You didn't want anybody misconstruing you and being aggressive.
Exactly what we were just talking about before.
Huh.
He didn't want to get himself lawfully shot.
Alrighty.
It's a valid concern. especially in Florida or Texas or Oklahoma. You started this.
Mr. Reeves. And right between his legs, you're here. Right? Standing up. And you look down, and right between his legs, you see a phone. Yes. You being a law enforcement officer, that could be a piece of evidence, right? Yes, sir. You make sure that Mr. Reeves is finally cut. Did you tell the officer he had not worked? Yes, sir. You told Mr. Reeves that you were a law enforcement officer when you approached him. Yes, sir. He told you likewise that he was a retired law enforcement officer. Yes, sir. You didn't have to wrestle Mr. Reeves. No. He was very cooperative. Yes, sir. And he told you that there was someone had hit him, right? Yes, sir.
Maybe. So the party statement of exception to hearsay is an adverse party statement. So this is a friendly party statement. It's favorable to the party, so that's not an exception, most likely. The question is, why is he trying to introduce it? They're going to suss it out now. If he's trying to introduce it to prove that he was hit, then it's hearsay. If he's trying to introduce it to say that's why the phone is
He was being compliant and communicative, cooperative.
Your present sense impression of why you didn't think he was a threat or why you thought maybe he was okay to shoot or anything like that, that's what they've got to get to. That's a good objection, though. Make him work for that question, because that statement that's a good statement.
But this is, one of the realities in court, of course, is the jury's heard the statement. They know the guy was going to say yes, or it wouldn't have been asked. If the guy was going to say no, the state wouldn't have objected. So the jury knows all this is happening because the state's trying to keep a yes out.
And I saw someone in the chat said, what if he says no? And I think it was to the question of seeing the phone on the ground or something. It's hard to gauge where the questions come in because there's a 20-second delay for you guys. But this guy and this defense team, one thing I'll say, especially on cross, they have read that binder is inches thick. Yep. They seem intimately familiar with that binder. They know exactly where their questions are coming from based on prior statements from other hearings and other witness testimony. They're very familiar with the answers that this guy is supposed to give. And so they're asking the question knowing 90% they're going to get a yes. And they, based on today's direct exam, they know where they're going to get a no and where they can drill down to the yes from before.
And I have to say, based on how well they're doing on cross and how well prepared they clearly are, I wonder if defense attorney Dino Michael was just hung over for opening. Because that was a train wreck of an opening. They're much better on cross.
He was hit with something.
It's something.
At the time that he told me that was right when you approached him. Yes. And the lighting was still at that point.
Dark.
Low lighting.
Low lighting. Get him to say that every time because it sounds rehearsed.
And you have a flashlight with you.
No.
And
he's not a man.
you weren't going to be
I had the flashlight in his wife's purse.
on his face. You were looking for the bleeding ash, right?
Yes, sir.
You weren't looking for anything that had any other indicia of injury.
That's right.
In fact, you didn't even get real close to him, did you?
No, sir.
Mr. Reeves' son, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Coming in.
Yes, sir.
Him identifying himself also as a police officer.
Right.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
You remember him having oil over his hands because he was looking for this also, correct?
That's right.
He says low
You
lighting
don't want to
number
talk to him
5.
later.
That's right.
Like I saw low lighting open for Leonard Skinner in 1974.
Now, we had some testimony concerning interviews, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've been trained, obviously, in your career, that when they give you a voluntary statement, you're not telling the jury that some police officer had a motive to tell you how to fill it out.
That's right.
You know how to fill it out.
That's right.
You don't need as much detail as you possibly can.
Preliminary.
Low lighting. I might change my
And
mind
the
later.
information that you're going to put in this document, you're going to make sure that it is true,
That's right.
right? It's going to be placed under oath at some point in time, right?
That's right.
There's not a document to fool around with.
That's right.
And so, early in your career, very early in your career, probably your academy, you were taught about something called contamination, right?
Yes, sir.
Witness contamination.
That's right.
That is a very basic investigation, right?
Yes, sir.
That you're not supposed to allow witnesses to come into contact with each other, correct?
That's correct.
That's very dangerous, you would agree.
Yes, sir.
It's very dangerous in our system of criminal justice, right?
Yes, sir.
Because people hear things, and whether it's right or wrong, they start adopting it for themselves, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you don't really get to know whether the witness's testimony is their own or 15 other people that they heard that statement from.
That's correct.
And so you've been trained as early as the academy. Separate these witnesses.
Yes, sir.
And you were there in that theater, just the opposite, correct? You were a congregating group right in that theater, correct?
He speaks for everybody else, obviously. Yes, sir.
Well, you were right there was a group of people around you.
Yes, sir.
And now a single police officer came up to you and said, Mr. Hamilton, let's make sure we got to separate you all. Please don't talk to anybody about your testimony, right? And you didn't hear that police officer tell anybody in that group, 30, 40, 50 people, wherever they were. You didn't see a police officer come up and say, hey, group, separate. Do not talk about your testimony with anybody else.
Yes, sir.
And you certainly know that there would be a battalion of Pasco County Sheriff's officers all over the Grove Theater.
I don't know about a battalion, but there was several. Yes, sir.
Many, right?
Yes, sir.
Many.
This was about 18 months after the Aurora, Colorado movie theater
And no,
shooter event.
Yeah.
you,
Everybody's on alert for another one of those.
you get interviewed
Still are.
by Detective Proctor, the lead detective in this case, right?
Yes, sir.
And he interviews you with your wife there. And he interviews your wife with you there, right?
Yes, sir.
And let's take it one step further. Before he even turns on the tape, you all have a little discussion,
Oh.
right? Off tape.
I don't recall discussion with you.
Well, you certainly don't think that would be appropriate, right?
To have discussion with both of us there.
Off tape.
And for what we're discussing,
Well, the case.
I don't recall that discussion.
If it happened, that would be improper.
Yes, sir.
Highly improper, right?
Uh-oh.
You would have never done it in your career as a lawyer.
Like you can't see this ambush coming.
There's no reason whatsoever a conversation about the case and you have a tape recorder present without turning that tape recorder on.
Right? Uh-oh. Here it comes.
The knife is coming in low.
Look at this.
You went into that interview. You were to tell what you
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
know.
Yes, sir.
Here's your statement. You refresh your recollection about having a discussion with Detective Crocker off tape.
You should dramatically slam this binder down on the.
Lancelot 652 says the defense is going to beat someone to death with that binder.
Homicide case, right? Yes, sir. Respect.
He's been waiting for this all day.
Yeah, homicide case, right? Yes, sir. In 1 o'clock. Well, after, yes, sir. It's 2:27. Right? Yes, sir. I've been up here asking a lot of questions. Yes, sir. Your interview with Detective Crocker.
Dr. CoffinNails, I hope you're blonde because you look very blonde in this photo.
You certainly wouldn't have done that, right? And you were never a homicide investigator. You would have never done that in a homicide case, would you? Because our system of justice requires thoroughness, correct? Yes, sir. He was concerned for Mr. Wilson. Yes. I have no further questions.
Whoa.
No big deal.
You got smoked.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
They're just gonna leave like an hour of brutal beatdown cross examination on the table. Because they got demolished. And they know it. Why is that guy sitting over there in the folding chair and not sitting?
10-minute recess. Remember my instructions during the break. Independent researcher copying Monster 6.
Man, that was nasty. Mask in the courtroom spotted. 2 masks in the courtroom spotted. That's a joke.
Yeah, that guy got Chad Olson.
Hey, by the way, if you're the redhead with glasses in the courtroom, go ahead and look up or type in the chat. Please let us know. On your computer there. Rats. Oh, they took the camera off. Man, that guy got that. His testimony got absolutely shredded, and this again goes to the problem. Now it is cross-examination. It's meant for that. They're doing a very good job. It doesn't necessarily mean that the guy has a valid self-defense claim, but boy, the state's case looks a lot worse after that guy than it did before that guy.
Yep.
And the other witnesses, it's looked at least a little bit worse after every single witness. And this is the state's case in chief. To me, the way I look at the case in chief for the state is by the end of the case in chief for the state, I should think the guy is guilty. And I should probably think they're more guilty than when
Beyond
I
the
first
reasonable
started
doubt.
the case. Right. I
mean, this state's witness testified about his statement where he had Chad Olson leaning over the seat, over this older guy, right? The defendant, Curtis Reeves.
Yeah.
The hand coming at him in a manner that, frankly, would look a lot like a fist.
Yep.
Right? Pronated, palm side down, knuckles forward.
Based on the way he, without invitation, did the motion. He made the demonstration first. The defense attorney then mirrored his demonstration. Oh, so like this then.
And testified consistent with the defendant's claim of a blow to the head.
Testified about expressing concern for the defendant's well-being, or for the deceased's well-being, which is not a requirement of self-defense, but it sure looks a lot better when you've defended yourself and then are concerned that the results of that defense might be extremely bad for the other person. Because typically defenders aren't thinking, I want to kill. They're thinking, I'm in danger, gotta stop it. That's a state of mind kind of hallmark of self-defense that at least juries like to see, even if it's not always the case. Again, it's not a requirement that they have concern for the person, but if the idea is that I'm in danger, I need to stop the danger to me, a lot of people have that human empathy and compassion that comes out afterwards, and they go, oh my God, and we saw it with Kyle Rittenhouse. You wanted to kill him. No, I just wanted to stop the danger. I didn't want to kill anybody. I didn't want that to happen.
And it's contrary to malice, right? It's contrary to having a depraved heart, much like, an excessive number of shots might be.
Yeah. So this is good stuff. I mean, this is about as good of a cross-examination as you can get. They have clearly prepared. They have a ton of material, which actually that's a big advantage of the 8 years, multiple hearings, multiple depositions, and witness statements being given, is they have a ton of material to go back to.
They've actually done this trial, right? Because the self-defense immunity hearing was 10 days long. It was 2 weeks all by itself.
Right. So, so they've done.
I wonder if this guy got mauled like this at the hearing, and so knew it was coming, right? He's going to re-experience the mauling a second time around.
Maybe. Certainly possible. But, some of the stuff, did they go back to his hearing? No, they didn't go back to his hearing statements. But yeah.
It was mostly, the written statement at the scene and then an interview with, law enforcement afterwards.
Yeah, the kind of question, the depraved mind is already proven. This is an open and shut case. Oh, okay. I mean, if you think that, you may be surprised. The way this is going, I think people may be surprised by the outcome. I think I may be surprised by the outcome the way this is going. We'll have to see. It depends. They're going to have some interesting witnesses. How Curtis Reeves comes across in the stand is going to matter a lot. How his wife comes across in the stand is going to matter quite a bit, I think. What her perception was, the fear that she had based on this giant man leaning over the chair in front of her and stuff like that.
Cursing, F-bombs.
Yeah. Right. And that'll be very interesting. Remember these two, this guy and his wife who testified to the F-bombs, no one else who testified to the F-bombs, but this guy and his wife did. They're not favorable to the defense, obviously. Do not seem to be on the pro self-defense side. They came across very much anti-Curtis, even though I think their testimony will end up helping him, especially this guy's a great deal. But that's due to the cross, not the direct exam. And so that F-bomb, that sure makes the wife look less credible too, in all of this stuff. And I think
she was right there, and she says it didn't happen.
Right. And her testimony about the hand is crazy. They could have drilled her on it. They decided not to, and that's probably the smart move. But I mean, she was clearly lying about how her hand orientation, because her demonstration is her hand is like this, her husband is over here like this, and she's shot in the back of the hand. She's grabbing her husband and holding him back, and that much is obvious. They're going to make that point on cross very much. You saw the marks on the back of her hand. That's where the stippling was. Her hand was this way because, of course, she's grabbing her husband. She's concerned that he's losing his temper. She's concerned that he's going to get into a fight with the old man over nothing. Again.
I mean, it could be, right?
I think there was testimony from her even where she said she knew that he was agitated or angry based on prior experience, which would make sense, but the way you can contextualize that and make that into because he's always angry at other people, or that he has a habit of doing this in public, that's certainly doable. But let me read a couple of these chats real quick. Stephen Oglesby says, "Does Chinless Joe remind anyone of the Dr. Seuss character in a suit?" A little bit. Yeah, he's got that Whoville chin physique going. Isaac Kazic says, "The fact that I have far better understanding of what leading questions are through the Nick Mercado School of Law than Prosecutor Chinless is really quite a terrifying prospect." I mean, I would wager he knows what leading questions are, but they've been getting away with it with the trial. The defense has been very permissive with the objections.
I mean, if they're going to let you, it makes everything much easier at the least.
yeah.
And at the most, you can basically provide your own testimony.
Stephen Stritch says a hothead but deserves to die. No, not necessarily. Not even deserves to die. Again, even if the self-defense claim is valid, self-defense does not automatically mean someone is dead. Now, unfortunately, that can be the result, but it doesn't have to be. This guy took one shot. If that one shot would have neutralized him by happening to hit him in a non-lethal area on the body, that would be preferable to someone dying, of course. But
it's got nothing to do with deserving. It's got nothing to do with something being a death sentence. I mean, people who make those statements just don't understand what the fundamental rationale of self-defense is. It's to defend yourself against a threat. It's got nothing about the outcome except in the context of neutralizing the threat.
Yeah, and importantly, there's a colloquial "he needed killing" defense in Texas. That's not self-defense. Actually, he needed killing is distinctly different. He needed killing is a vigilante or communal justice idea that some guy molests a kid and the justice system doesn't work, and then they someone goes after him, and then the resulting trial, the jury goes light on the guy because something there's some obvious thing. This is some guy's kid was, again, some guy gets revenge for what happened to his kid.
That's the plot of A Time to Kill.
Friend or something like that. That's he needed killing. That is not self-defense. It's also not a valid legal strategy or defense. It's colloquialism. Self-defense is not about giving someone what they deserve. It's literally stop the danger to you. And goodness gracious, I got real choppy. And if you happen to, in stopping the danger to you, if you happen to cause serious bodily harm or death to someone, well, then you're protected legally. You get some protection from liability because of the situation you're trying to. You're protecting your own right to live.
Yeah, freckles are not easy.
So, it's a different perspective. Corpus Delecti says, Nick, has anyone else pointed out how Curtis looks like Filbert from Rocco's Modern Life? Maybe he couldn't be seen because he was too turtly for the Turtle Club. Also, this witness seems to be turtling farther into his seat. Yeah, that was good. I mean, his seat was low, so it looked kind of goofy already, but was he sinking as it went, and that rocking, the nervous rocking was, he knew he was getting absolutely handled. Jim Tussick says this is BDSM.
It was a bit of a beating.
Res Oxen says, you guys advise never to speak to the police. What if you are in a witness position and they're requesting a statement? Should you ask for a lawyer? The answer to should you ask for a lawyer is always, can you afford to ask for a lawyer? If you can, if you've got the money to pay someone to walk you through a witness statement, not always the worst idea. Is it necessary? Not always. But the general concept of not speaking to the police, as with any rule, is a state of mind that you start with, and there are obviously exceptions to it. Like after you shoot someone, you're going to probably have to call 911 and speak to not necessarily an officer, but a dispatcher, an authority. You're going to have to say something. I had to defend myself. Someone is harmed. Please send help. I'll be here wearing these clothes, or whatever. You have to say something. So obviously you've got to speak to the law.
Unless you're going to pull an Edgecombe.
Yeah. And that worked out really well
for your self-defense claim.
That bought him 6 months. 6 months of cross-country freedom. To be followed by probably 40 to 60 years of incarceration. But yeah, so it all depends. It depends on the situation. I mean, obviously, you're not always going to have a lawyer for every little thing, but it doesn't hurt you to do so, except financially.
And did you cover that judge and her means? in your show last week?
No, I didn't get to it. I was talking about some other stuff, and then Runkle came on, and we just ranted about Canada for a while, which is good. Good times. I'm probably going to do it tonight. It'll be messy. Let's see. Wolfgang Deo says, I am so hard right now, thanks to Bronco. Brendan Coleman says, was the question on Cross about expecting an F-bomb dangerous? My answer would be sure. I've had nuts drop F-bombs on me, but I didn't shoot them. I don't think it was that dangerous, because I think even if that guy expects an F-bomb randomly in a movie theater, the average person, the average juror, when they hear that question goes, yeah, that would concern me if someone's standing up yelling the F-bomb in the middle of a movie theater, right? Like something interesting.
It contributes to a reasonable perception of threat, right? By itself, it wouldn't be enough to justify the use of deadly defensive force, but it's a brick in the construct.
Right, and just think about it. If you're in a movie theater and anybody in the general vicinity stands up and screams, hey, fuck you, or I'm talking to my fucking daughter, like that, you know, what happens? You get on edge. You get a little bit of apprehension. Again, not sufficient to pull out a gun and shoot someone. But if that person was yelling it at you, and they advance on you, they reach in their pocket, they take a swing, your perceptions of that event change dramatically based on their behavior. Someone reaches into their coat pocket and they're being polite to you, not usually anticipating they're going to pull out a knife or a gun. But if someone's screaming profanity at you and they reach into their coat pocket, you suddenly have to be a lot more scared of what's going on. Wolfgang says, Bronca, get me harder. Irish wristwatch. Greg Bilata says, a question for Mr. Bronca. What is the legality of a Mogadishu against a home intruder? Could the tactic be used against you in a case of self-defense where duty to retreat in-house is on the books?
There's no place where, there's no place where you have a duty to retreat in your home from a genuine intruder in your home. It gets a little more complicated if there's a code word. By a Mogadishu, do you mean two to the chest and one to the head? Again, you could use as much force as necessary to neutralize that threat, as long as you stay, your defensive force is proportional to the nature of the threat. Once the threat is over, then your privileged use force is over.
Yeah, so if your two to the chest happen, and then the one to the head happens while they're on the ground and there's a bullet hole in your floor, you're going to have a problem.
Right.
You're going to have to explain that away. But if you're a trained shooter who's going to be able to go pop, pop, pop while the person's still standing, I don't think you're going to have too much issue with that.
Yeah, people tend not to get in trouble when it's 2 or 3 or 4 shots fired in rapid sequence. That's not where people get in trouble. People get in trouble where there's a pause in the action, the threat is apparently neutralized, and then they shoot again. That's when they get in trouble for that last shot.
Right, or a reload that is not easily explained. A reload after someone has 9 rounds in them already, or whatever. But that it's going to be case specific. But by the way, will the prosecutor attempt to use that against you? Yes.
They'll attempt to use everything against you.
1 shot is you obviously never felt in danger. 5 shots is excessive. Whatever happens, a prosecutor will use it. That's their job. All right, back at it. I'm sad that we're not on Cross anymore, and that we now have to listen to another direct.
We ready for the jurors?
Amanda M says, I wouldn't be able to stay awake for this trial if it weren't for your commentary, and PG-5 language from attorneys is irritating as hell. Aiden Ramos says, prosecutor sounds like the boring accountant that keeps trying to hire Ben Wyatt on Parks and Rec. Lol calculator. Jessica Pizzle says, the fact that people were talking during the preview drives me nuts. Yeah, me too, actually.
I'm okay. You're okay.
I need a second to get my boring on.
Oh, so he has another hearing to run to real quick. It sounds like, but they'll proceed on with the other two defense counsel. That's fine. I don't like Chin Guy anyway. JC Adult 101 says closed caption differs from spoken. Close to the Nile instead of aisle. Could law and crime claim this is their unique content? No, because their closed captions are being generated by YouTube's algorithm. Robin Sage says all credit to @Zach. Just call me prosecutor Chinsey Graham.
All right.
Chinsey Graham.
I think that's it.
Sean Luby,
Now, I muted down the yellow because it was very, very yellow.
Is still disappointed he couldn't star in the community theater stage presentation of Flashdance without telling them.
And let me fix this because that area is a little. It got a little muted when
Dave Brad.
I added in the
On the
freckles.
day of the incident, is it true you had drinks in a tub of butter? No. Is it true your wife is eating a tub of butter as we speak? Yes. The two bald attorneys have to be angry that when they hired their associate attorney, all of their hair moved onto his face and head. All of it. It's like they did hair just, and then on him.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. Ladies and gentlemen, were you all able to abide by my instructions during the recess? All right. Number 9, you're still with us? Glad to hear that for now. Mr. Garcia, you're standing up. Alrighty.
This guy has a squat body shape. All right. Another LEO. QGG639 says, in Pee Wee Herman voice, I'm trying to use the phone. I can't do Pee Wee Herman voice right now. I don't know if I can do it ever, but I can't do it right now. Automata says, spoiler, time is circular. By the end of this trial, the RoboCop preview will be out for the next iteration of the universe.
Deputy Jones, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
If you would please, can you speak loudly and clearly into that microphone and direct us?
Yes, sir.
If you would please, can you state your full name
Eric Jones.
and your profession?
I'm a corporal in the training.
Alrighty. Now let's sit down and make a time lapse video.
And Corporal Jones, directing your attention back to January 13th of 2014, how were you employed by the Sheriff's Office on that date?
I was a corporal in training.
Okay, let's blend out this. Sometimes when I get it, it looks fine in person, but this,
Yes, sir.
when it looks on the picture, it looks funny.
Yes, sir.
On that date, did you get a call of response from the operator in reference to a shooting?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall what time it got?
I believe it was 1:36. Yeah.
Okay. And when you got there, can you tell us what was going on?
The call was for an active shooter at the theater.
Okay.
Myself and Deputy Cardona at the theater. The employees there guided us into the theater at the tabs.
All right. Now, let me ask you this question. By the time that you
Okay.
went to the movie theater, was Sergeant Weiner already on scene?
Yes, sir. Along with several.
Okay. Which would have been Deputy Rogards?
Yes, sir.
And at the time that you entered the theater, was the defendant in custody or were they in the process of placing him in custody?
I believe at that time they were detaining him as I entered.
Okay. Did
Dr. CoffinNails, they were super chat. I love it, Anna. It's like looking into a mirror better. Oh, well, thanks. I'm glad you like it. I'm going to pull up my Instagram right now.
Deputy Cardona?
At some point, yes, Sergeant Briner gave Black Outback 380 to
Okay. As well as Wall?
yes, sir.
So if you guys don't know, I have this Instagram where I post all of the eyes, and it's going to be nice and even now. Let's go back to the top.
Okay.
play you guys the last one that I did while I edit this, and we'll just go through.
It was taken from you by forensic investigator Amy Parrish.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the entire testimony. Just all of it.
I beg to differ with counsel. I have case law. If you want, we can approach. If you want to see it,
Well, that's your argument.
I'll allow it.
He's going to drop case on why he's allowed to have leading questions on a state's witness of a police officer. That'd be interesting case law. Unless it's just he can do leading questions on foundational issues. Maybe that's it. C Goody 564 says, "Tell all the bigots to hit like, or else." Well, to all the bigots in the chat, I'm going to ask you to hit like or else. C Goody has some other plan for you, but it really does help the stream if you like the show. Hit the like button. Tell YouTube you like it, and that's always good free way to help support the show. I appreciate it as well. I feel like I've been hit by a cell phone. Sorry, I was narrating the internal monologue of Curtis Reeves there. I apologize. I hope when he gets up, he has a ridiculous voice, like something you would just never expect. I have a feeling his voice is going to be gravelly. Have you heard him speak? Who? Curtis Reeves. No.
Well, I meant to listen to because he testified for like 2.5 hours of his immunity hearing, but I never ran out of time.
Hear you.
All right.
I mean, I wouldn't have run out of time. I didn't try, of course, but I wouldn't have run out of time if I had tried. So there's that. I cannot imagine having to sit there and deal with all these people, frankly. I listened to him on SYO standing around here. What's he sound like, Pizza Girl? Pizza Girl. Context is racist says he's just going to mumble. Catherine H says, "I was not forced to like the stream." That's good. So what was the ruling on the objection?
Is that what Deputy Cardona received from Deputy Reiner and then subsequently placed in prison and then Amy Parrish?
Yes, sir.
Deputy Jones, what county is the copy in?
That's good.
Thank you, sir. I have no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
So, can this witness be released? Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Corporal, you're free to go.
So he was just brought in to say that he was there and that he saw somebody. I think he said.
All right, it's uploading now.
Who's next?
Your Honor, the state Amy Parrish.
Who's Amy Parrish? Ed and Steph says, I see a little silhouette of a man.
It's
Bowtie
uploading.
Charlie says, the last we'll see of this former deputy, when he gets home, Jabba will drop him through the trap door to be eaten by a rancor. Patrick Ruintree says, Your Honor, the witness.
From the testimony shall give in this cause, we receive the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
The witness has testified that they ate the popcorn at the scene. We're filing for a mistrial, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Your please support. Ms. Pierce, good afternoon. If you would please, can you speak loudly and clearly into the microphone and if you really need to can you state your full name?
Amy Parrish,
Can you spell your last name, please?
Parish.
All right. And what's your current profession?
I currently work as a senior business analyst for a software analytics.
All right, did it upload?
February 13th of
See.
2014, by whom were you employed?
Hey, there it is. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So again, picture I was sent was very yellow. I don't think his skin is actually that yellow, but the photo I was sent, it is very yellow. So I tried to mute it a little bit to make it look a little more natural, but this is what I got. You guys can see. Look at, watch this. Ha! Beautiful rows of 3.
And then I also got a bachelor's from St. Leo, also in criminology.
All right.
Throughout my career, I had about 3
Here we
years
go.
of
Let's watch this time lapse.
And as of January 13th of 2014, how many crimes have you gone through in that process?
I don't know that I'd be able to give you an exact number. Maybe at least several hundred.
45,000.
And as a forensic investigator, is there a certain protocol that you follow once you arrive on
The
scene?
Golden Corral protocol.
Okay. Tell us the protocol that you follow as far as keeping the integrity of evidence.
Keeping the integrity
Store
of
it in my
evidence,
cheeks.
we want to make sure that we document and collect everything properly, making sure we're using the right protocols when collecting items of evidence, such as using gloves and using the proper tools, and just making sure that the evidence is protected in its best way and properly documented and collected.
Besides using gloves, would you is there things that you use, booties that you put on your shoes?
Yes, there is.
And do you have Tyvek suits? Or
You ever use a
something?
shovel?
We also have private suits that are assigned to us.
All right. So this particular
Okay,
case,
only when it's an
January
officer
13th,
involved shooting.
2014, did you use gloves?
Yes, on those gloves.
Did you have booties on over your shoes?
I do recall
You
wearing
just said,
booties
did you have
because we
booties?
had some that were stationed outside of the theater.
You took a pitchfork.
Tell us what happened as far as when you arrived on scene. What time did you arrive on scene?
I got there at 14:27, which would be 2:27 p.m. that day, and I met with Captain Stephens, who was my supervisor at the time, and other forensic investigators.
Did Captain Stephens give you a debriefing of what had occurred?
Yes, what he had learned since he had been there, he just kind of gave me a quick briefing on what we had. Because when we first got there, we didn't know exactly what we had, but as I was there longer, I received more information.
Oh, Holocron Fox Library. Oh yeah. Link his channel in the chat, and we can go raid him.
Lunch, it's the full size grocery bag.
Yeah, she also knows that.
There was numerous other forensic investigators, right?
Yes, there was 2 others. Forensic investigator Miller and forensic investigator Harrison was also there.
Okay. Were you given a particular assignment?
When I first got there,
Well,
I see this court reporter isn't bitching about people talking too fast.
Nope.
But yeah, there we go. Here is the time lapse of the eye, as I've had it play a few times already.
when I first got there, they wanted
So yeah, it's great. I'm happy. Happy with the way that it turned out. Freckles are not my forte, and this was a nice practice. If you guys haven't already, go follow me over on my Instagram. It is the Art of Anna TSWG, and you actually don't have to have an Instagram account to go log in or to go onto it and like to see what I've painted. So if you ever want an update, I'm not going to post anything else on this Instagram until I'm done with the eye project, and then I'll start posting other things. And so the next thing I'm going to be painting actually is the Queen of Hearts. So next painting session, I will be painting a Queen of Hearts painting. Hopefully, that's my plan. Depending on how much time I have. And if you guys didn't know, this is my my main Instagram profile. So I posted this Princess Leia one up there yesterday for Valentine's Day. Everyone loses their mind, so you get kind of an inside look. So it's like a full body on the ones that I took full body pictures of, and then like the close-ups. And then if you wanted to see any of the rogue ones, like this photo has not been released anywhere else. It was only released on this Instagram. So if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, go check it out. So yeah, yes, let's go raid. Let's see. Anna just saw announcement on KOTOR. We need one about Resident Evil. Oh yeah, the KOTOR stuff. But yeah, go look over to Shant's channel and go over there. Holocron Fox Library has been dropping the link in the chat. Dr. CoffinNails, I got it down as copper is what you would like. I need to know if you want shiny copper or vintage. I'll grab it right now and I can show you which one. Which one would you prefer? So, Dr. CoffinNails, this is like the vintage copper. I'll put it like next to it. You want to see? So this is vintage copper, and then this is shiny copper. So they're both really pretty. Just let me know which one you would like for your eye, and I'll write it down on the back. That way I can get started on it. Put them next to each other. Which one would you like? Would you like shiny or vintage? Shiny copper. Okay, got it. I'll write that down on the back of here.
And then also there was a popcorn bag that was tilted over and had spilled popcorn. That was identified as bin number 12. And next to that was a white iPhone that had a black casing over it. I also indicated that there was a beverage cup in the 9th seat of that row, and that would have been in the left arm if you were sitting in this. Also, all
right, I have it written down on the back. So it's all good. Now I know. But yeah, thanks so much everyone for watching. Thanks so much for being here. Leave a comment on the stream when I end it. It'll help me out with the algorithm. Everyone, thanks for smashing the like button. We got up to 65 likes, so I appreciate that. And guys, have a great rest of your day. I might go over to Twitch later tonight. Bye.